McKinley Ross again, and welcome back to Job Developers Bootcamp. In this lesson, we're going to talk about a strategy that has resulted in hundreds of job placements throughout my career and will improve your job placements also. Now, some of you might already be using variations of this simple yet effective approach. Now, for those of you who are not, I challenge you to start using it right away and watch your placements literally take off. Now, if you remember in a previous lesson, I told you that over my 7.5 years as an executive recruiter and headhunter, only 7 of those years did I consider myself a top performing recruiter. Now, the main reason is that I didn't have the right mental attitude and I didn't recognize the value that I was bringing to the table. I felt like I was the pesky, annoying little job developer who was somehow bothering the big, important employer. I was bothering him by calling and asking about job openings. Have you ever had that feeling? Sure you have. Now, I was actually stuck in a rut until I realized that although some employers hire because of openings, most employers hire because they have problems, not openings. And if I presented myself as a professional job developer who could offer solutions and solve the problems, I would develop employment opportunities and make placements while others were hoping and waiting on the opening. Now, I realize that all employers have problems. They have problems with workers coming in late, problems with workers who have bad attitudes, problems with workers who are slow and don't complete assignments. Now, once I realized that employers are constantly trying to solve these problems, I transitioned from the pesky job developer to the valuable problem solver who happened to be a job developer. And with this new attitude and mindset came the realization that employers value problem solvers. And I was actually on the same level as any employer. There was no such thing as the big important employer and the little insignificant job developer. We were equals. And with this new mindset, my placements and my overall performance increased dramatically. Now, here's a quick example. I was in a cafe standing in line with a growing number of frustrated customers waiting to be served. I mean, we were fuming. But I had a different mindset. Immediately, I saw an opportunity. So instead of complaining and whining, I located the manager and introduced myself and the agency I worked for. Now, I explained that I worked for a community-based organization who had a pool of pre-screened candidates. And actually, we represented candidates who had restaurant experience. Now, I had a sense of urgency. I went on to emphasize that our pre-screened candidates were available right now. And I could make arrangements for them to meet with the manager right away. Without hesitation, the manager gave me his business card and said, "Hey, McKinley, I haven't advertised this opening yet, but let's set up an interview right away." So there wasn't an opening, but there was an opportunity. And he continued by saying, "You know what, I need help real fast." And he went on to explain that one of his employees was showing up late, creating a problem for everyone. Now remember this, the fortune is in the follow-up. So immediately after returning to my office, I began the process of preparing our candidates and arranging the interviews. Now, with this job developer awareness, we encounter these type of situations all the time, on a regular basis. However, as professionals, we must always look for the opportunity that might be disguised as a problem. Now, doctors, accountants, attorneys, they solve problems all the time. So we are also valuable problem solvers who happen to work in the workforce development field. Now we must be a facilitator also of positive outcomes. We bring value and benefit to the employer, value and benefit to the job seeker, and value and benefit to our organizations and communities. So to summarize, most employers hire because they have problems, not openings. And we must have a sense of urgency if we're going to solve those problems, because the fortune is in the follow-up. Set up that interview and get that placement. Now, you'll discover in our next exercise that professional job developers who are familiar and comfortable with basic concepts of selling will be more successful in arranging interviews and making placements than job developers who are not. Now, I must warn you that we've only covered the tip of the iceberg, especially with the problem solver approach. And for those who choose to sign up for our advanced training, at the end of this series, we'll go in depth and you'll learn how to utilize the problem solver approach to convert your program participants into junior job developers, where they'll be literally placing themselves. You'll actually have problems trying to keep up with the placements, and that's a good problem to have. So, okay, let's head on over to Job Developers Bootcamp for lesson number 4. See you there. Take care.